All right, looks like we've got a good amount of participants so far. So hi everyone, and thank you for joining our AI Agents and Vtiger webinar. My name is Josh Rich, and I'm joined by my colleague Matthew Costello.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining.
Matthew and I are both senior business consultants at Vtiger. We're both really excited to be here with all of you to discuss and show off some of the capabilities Vtiger's AI, and specifically AI agents, can perform in the CRM. So let's quickly go over the agenda before jumping into the rest of the webinar. I'm going to start this webinar with some slides covering Agentic AI, followed by a brief overview of Calculus AI, which is the core foundation of Vtiger's AI capabilities. From there, we're going to dive into our AI agents, discuss what they are, some of the various tasks they can perform, and some of the benefits of using Vtiger AI agents. I'll then pass things off to Matthew, who will be showing a live demo of our AI and Vtiger agents in action, followed by a Q&A session at the end to answer any of your questions. We also have a few of our colleagues online. We have Abhishek, Janavi, Akshay, Devesh, and Kiran, who will be assisting us in answering questions during the webinar and in the Q&A session at the end. So if you do have a question before the Q&A session, please just use the Q&A chat feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen, as we're not going to be monitoring the regular chat for questions. So let's get started. Let's start by exploring Agentic AI and what it entails. So what is Agentic AI? So Agentic AI systems are designed to autonomously make decisions and act to achieve complex goals with minimal human supervision. It uses perception, reasoning, decision-making, and execution to solve multi-step problems and adapt to dynamic environments. So let's cover a few points we feel best describe Agentic AI, and we'll start with autonomy. So autonomy is really a cornerstone of Agentic AI, defining its capacity to operate independently, make nuanced decisions, and execute actions without the need for constant human oversight. This means that once given a high-level objective, an Agentic AI system can proactively analyze its environment, devise a plan, and take necessary steps to achieve its goals. So this self-directed capability significantly differentiates it from traditional AI, which typically requires explicit instructions for each step. Next is goal-oriented, which signifies its core purpose to achieve specific objectives. So unlike systems that merely react to inputs, Agentic AI is engineered to be proactive, capable of planning and executing multi-step tasks autonomously to reach those predetermined goals. This involves breaking down complex challenges into manageable subtasks, devising a strategic approach, and then orchestrating various actions and resources to systematically work towards the desired outcome. Moving along, we have adaptability. These systems possess the crucial ability to learn from their ongoing interactions and dynamically adjust to evolving environments, which enables them to consistently improve their performance over time without requiring constant manual updates. Next is complex reasoning. By using complex reasoning, it enables these systems to move beyond accomplishing just simple tasks. This capability allows agents to connect to multiple diverse systems, effectively coordinate actions across various tools and databases, and expertly manage integrate multi-step workflows to achieve their objectives. And lastly, we have human-like decision-making. So human-like decision-making is a core aspiration for Agentic AI systems, aiming to emulate cognitive processes found in humans. This allows these systems to not only process information, but also to reason, weigh options, and make choices in a manner that feels more intuitive and seamless to use for human operators. This ultimately fosters a more natural and effective collaboration. So now that we've discussed and learned a little bit more about Agentic AI, let's briefly go over a few of the features found in the Calculus AI suite, Vtiger's AI engine. So these features include prompts, RAG models, chat flows, and of course, agents. So let's start with prompts. Prompts are a key feature within our Calculus AI suite. They're managed through the prompt builder. Prompts are essentially custom instructions that CRM admins can create to leverage AI models for generating CRM-specific data and insights. Rather than generic queries, Vtiger's prompt builder allows for data grounding by incorporating actual CRM data like contact details, deal information, or case history directly into the prompt. This is accomplished by using merge tags and data templates. This enables Vtiger's AI to produce highly personalized and contextually relevant outputs such as drafting tailored emails, summarizing records, or generating reports. Next, we have RAG models, or retrieval augmented generation models. Vtiger's RAG models are designed to significantly improve the relevance and accuracy of AI-generated responses. These models proactively look up and retrieve specific real-time data from your Vtiger instance and associated documents, FAQs, and articles. This means that when AI provides an answer, it's not just guessing, it's again grounding its response in your actual CRM data and knowledge base. This data grounding makes Vtiger's RAG models ideal for knowledge-based responses. For customer support, this translates into faster, more accurate resolutions, as AI agents can quickly access customer history and relevant solutions. In sales enablement, RAG models empower sales teams by quickly retrieving product specifications, pricing, competitor comparisons, or even relevant case studies, helping them to provide timely, accurate information to prospects and close deals more effectively. Next, we have chat flows. Vtiger's chat flows features provides an intuitive way to design and visually map out how your AI chatbots will interact with customers through live chat. The chat flow feature is like a digital whiteboard where users can easily drag and drop elements from a rich library of shapes, symbols, and pre-built templates. The user-friendly canvas, it really empowers users to create custom conversation paths for their chatbots, guiding them through various customer scenarios without needing to write a single line of code. So chat flows are all about planning and structuring interactions, ensuring your chatbot delivers a consistent and effective experience for every website visitor. This results in expedited solutions and answers for your visitors. So let's now discuss Vtiger's AI agent. So what is an AI agent? So a Vtiger AI agent is an intelligent program with autonomous capabilities within the Vtiger CRM platform. It's now a core part of Vtiger's Calculus AI, designed to automate tasks, provide real-time assistance, and enhance user and customer experiences. Vtiger AI agents use AI and natural language processing to understand and respond to user queries, simulating human comprehension and decision-making. They're customizable through the Agent Builder feature, allowing businesses to create tailored agents each designed to tackle specific tasks and requests. These agents integrate with CRM data, allowing them to access and analyze real-time data quickly. So to sum it up, a Vtiger agent acts as a smart automated assistant within your CRM to help streamlining operations, improving customer service, and boosting productivity. So before I pass things off to Matthew, let's just review 5 benefits of using Vtiger's AI agents. The first is improved efficiency. AI agents can automate repetitive tasks, freeing up users to focus on more strategic work. This leads to increased productivity and streamlined workflows. Next, we have improved accuracy. AI agents can process large amounts of data with greater speed and precision than humans. So this again leads to more accurate results and decisions. Number 3, we have reduced costs. AI agents can automate processes. They also help to reduce errors. They accomplish tasks and provide real-time data insights. This can lead to significant cost savings. We have scalability. AI agents can handle increasing workloads. They can adapt to changing needs without requiring additional resources. This helps make them highly scalable. And then lastly, we have enhanced customer experience. So AI agents can provide 24/7 support, personalized interactions, and anticipate customer needs, leading ultimately to higher customer satisfaction. I want to leave you with a quote from Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft. I'm sure you've all heard of him. He states, and I quote, "Agents are not only going to change how everyone interacts with computers, they're also going to upend the software industry, bringing about the biggest revolution in computing since we went from typing commands to tapping on icons." I feel this quote captures just how important the agentic AI movement is. So I know that you've been waiting for the live demo of this portion. I didn't want to take up too much time with slides, as Matthew has quite a hefty demo ahead of him. So without further ado, I'll now hand things off to Matthew. So Matthew, it is all yours.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, let me share my screen real quick and we'll jump into the CRM itself. All right. I hope you can all see my screen now. Let me minimize this portion of this as well.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So there's a few housekeeping things I want to cover first before I jump into the features themselves. So everything I will be showing is going to be available when you enable the Calculus AI add-on in the add-ons page, or if you're in the AI edition of the CRM itself, you'll have access to these features. So the add-on is $12 per user per month. You do get a set amount of tokens each month to use. Each prompt or agent you utilize does require a certain amount of tokens, depending on how much data is sent and what is generated. Any additional tokens can be purchased at 250,000 tokens for $10 each person purchase. So following that, I'm going to start off with a simple prompt in the system. This is a list view prompt. It's available. It can be set for a module. Right now, we have this bar. You press the drop down, and here you'll see any list view prompts you've enabled for that module itself. The one right here is called leads to prioritize. This is going to show 3 contacts that should be followed up with based off of the instructions we set for that prompt. So let's wait for it to load a little bit. There we go. So these 3 contacts are the first 3 that should be prioritized. I'll go into the instructions of this prompt in a little bit. But the main thing here is each one of these are displayed, but they can also be clicked on very easily and followed up with very easily just from this drop down. The great thing about list view prompts is, one, they become available for all users in the system. They also are available for every list in the module. So I'm in all contacts, but if I want to switch to my leads, this is here once again. Enabling it will then pull in the contacts should be prioritized from this list in the module. And if you notice, these are 3 different contacts. So let's jump into how this prompt is created. So to do so, what we're going to do is look for the Generative AI Designer module in the main menu. So going in here, you're going to see a lot of the things Josh mentioned in the slides earlier. But we're also going to notice a lot more that wasn't touched upon fully that I want to cover first before I even get to the prompt itself. Oh, so the first thing is the tabs here up top. You have the setup, which contains these. I'll get to these very soon. But these next 3 are also very important to the use of calculus in Vtiger. So the first one is analytics. This gives you an overview on the queries that have been run within the entire CRM from all users. This contains the queries themselves, but also those that still need to be reviewed, or those that have been reviewed, as well as the queries by type and when they were accepted by date, if any have been accepted. We don't have any accepted currently. What that means is if we go into the queries tab, this shows every prompt that was initiated into Calculus AI within the system. These can be opened, reviewed, and either accepted or denied, or if we go to the bottom here, yeah, accepted, or you can choose to set it as an invalid question. What this does is this is a human aspect of training the AI in calculus. So you can look at prompts that have been performed. If they fit what you were looking for, you can accept them, and it will reference those moving forward. The final one is the token usage. I'm sure this one's going to be important, as the prompts you utilize will all use a different amount of tokens, and this can vary wildly based on the prompt or the agent that you're utilizing in the system. As you'll notice here, we have a huge variance between 600 up to 8,000 for this one. This depends on the data that you're sending, either through the agent or through the prompt, and what all is then being generated. So from there, let's go back into the setup, and I'll go cover these a little bit in more detail. So the RAG models are the first one here. By default, you'll have FAQs and documents here. In this page, you'll be able to see how many records within that module have been it has been trained on or has not been trained on yet. You can initiate a training to run if you have added more FAQ records that haven't been added into this yet. You could train it. You can also add a new model, a new RAG model here. These can be set up for any module in the system. So if you wanted to train it on maybe the products you have in the CRM, if they contain something specific to your industry or company you want to be referenced by the AI, you could add in a model and set that for products. And the rest of this is you set the embedding model, which we have only one right now, as well as the fields you want to pull in to be referenced. And you can set additional conditions, so only certain records from the products module could be pulled in. The documents below that is actually where you can pull in specific documents to train the AI model on. This is pretty self-explanatory. Right now, we don't have any documents added in, but that's where you can add them and view them. Agents is next. I'm going to be going into a lot more detail on this a little bit later, but this is where the agents are going to be and where you can add more. Prompts, again, I'll be coming right back to this. So I'll jump right back up after we cover chat flows a little bit and data shield as well. So chat flow is where you can build a chat flow for the live chat in the system. This is going to be the first interaction a customer will have using the live chat. It'll route through the bot and can even then go to an agent if you configure that in the flow itself. I'll be covering this in quite a bit more detail as well and show you an actual chatbot in action. And then finally, data shield. So this is going to show by default what personally identifying information is being masked. You can also add additional fields if you have sensitive contact or organization or other information in the system that you don't want sent to a large language model. This is where you can configure that to be masked when it's sent off. So with that out of the way, let's go into the prompts and actually go into the one I just showed in the context module called leads prioritization. So if you'll notice, prompts are primarily set up in three sections. We have the instructions themselves. These are, again, with instructions, and not only with prompts, but with agents, you want to be as specific as possible. This is because these are sort of the guardrails that the LLM will use to then generate the content it pulls back in for the prompt. And prompts, and the reason I'm starting with prompts is because prompts can then be used within agents. So I think this is a good foundation to set here. So these instructions, you'll run into them in agents as well, but being as thorough as possible is very important. And as you'll see here, I have multiple stages here on what it should show, or what it should not show, what it should show, an exception for what it should show, which fields it should focus on more than others, and even how it should describe the information and what it should not add in that. Below that, we have a section for adding in questions. I will not be using these in either of the examples I'll be showing, but if you create a prompt to generate an email and you want to gather specific information from the user, utilizing that prompt, this is where you can add in those questions. It's as simple as clicking add question. You can type it out and you can set it as a text, pick list, number, or date type question. And then they will send that along into the LLM to then reference when building that email is the best use case for it, but you could use it for other generated content. And then finally, we have our prompt data. So this uses merge fields. If you have used print templates or email templates in the system before, you're probably very familiar with these. This is the exact same process. We have the merge fields for the module you selected for the prompt here. All you really need to do is set your cursor where you want to pull in the merge field and then select the name of the field you want to pull in. The thing with LLMs specifically is that if you just use the merge fields without any prefix or identifier for that merge field, it's just getting a jumble of information it doesn't have a reference for. So we do highly recommend you add in a colon and then the actual merge field itself, which is what I did for all of these. If you want to add additional information or context here, you could as well. Usually the more the better. The only thing to be careful here is this is going to affect the token usage for this prompt, and then potentially for the agent it's used within. So the more information you're sending, the more tokens will be used. So you really want to make sure you have the best fields possible for this this prompt you're creating. And then finally, you do have an option to preview. This is a list prompt, so you'll have an option to preview this on an existing list. Let me kind of show this real quick. If I go in my leads and preview this, this is actually is a great way to test a prompt before actually making it active for the entire system. you'll be able to see what the actual prompt content is, and then the response that's received and the tokens used. So this is a great way to test this before you actually make it active. So following that, because I wanted to show how we set up that one, that is a list prompt. I want to actually create one and show you how you can enable it for a module. And this is going to be a very, very basic prompt. So what I'll do here is click Add Prompt. And the goal here is to create a prompt that can generate initial sales email being sent to a lead. So I'll say generate an introductory sales email and I'm going to use Vtiger CRM as the company it's creating it for. I'll say personalize the email if possible. And I'm saying if possible because I won't be sending a lot of information in this prompt in particular related to the contact just to save time. But I just want to show this process for you. So I add the instructions, then I pull in the data I want. But actually before that, let's fill out these details because I want to cover this as well. I'm going to call this webinar email draft. I'll be using this name to then pull it into the module. You can set it as active or inactive initially. And then finally, you set a mode for the prompt. This is going to determine how this prompt is able to pull in information and what it's referencing when it comes to the merge fields it's utilizing. I'm going to be using record as the mode. This allows me to pull in record-specific merge fields, which will help with generating that email. But the other options are when the record is updated, is when the prompt should be available. List view, which I just showed previously. We do have one called email here. This is great if you want to create a prompt specifically for generating an email that focuses more on questions and just the instructions, because you won't have access to utilize merge fields with this one. So it's great for simpler email generation. A dynamic is more so for if you're creating a prompt to be used within an agent. You could create a dynamic prompt to pull in information in relation to a module or specific records that can mix and match what's needed for the agent. And then finally, we have customer, which is similar to record. But again, I'm sticking to record for this one and is likely what you'll be using for a lot of the prompts you do utilize. So following that, I'm just going to pull in two basic merge fields, again, to save time for this presentation. But I'll be pulling in the name and I'll be pulling in the company. And this is, of course, that information related to that record specifically. So let's go ahead and save our prompt. And with that saved, what I'm going to do now is go back into the contacts module, because just creating a prompt won't make it available within that module. An admin will then need to go into the fields and layout of a specific module. And once in there, you'll see AI widgets available as a tab. Going into the widget, you'll see any that are currently active within that module. And there's the one I just showed previously, but you can add a new one as well. So I'll do that here. Here you'll have options of which mode it is, which is list in the list of the module itself, or in the summary view of a record within that module. I'm going to be using the summary. And then finally, the prompt name, which again, I'll be using webinar email draft as the prompt name. And then you have actions, which we have copy right now, but I won't be utilizing that at the moment either. So let's go ahead and save this widget. It will add it into the contacts module. And then I'll jump back into the contacts module and show you where that is at. So reload to make sure that is in place. And then let's open up the first lead here. And I'm sure if you haven't been using any of our AI functionality yet, but you have been using the system a lot, you might be aware that what our naming scheme is. But if not, this is what we consider the summary view of a record. And you're probably very familiar with one view, which is usually displayed here. With Calculus AI enabled or with the AI edition, you will have this new tab called Calculus AI. And in it, you will have the prompts that you activate manually, as well as some default ones that will be available as well. So here's the one we just added in, webinar email draft. Clicking on that will then generate that email for us to utilize. So here you can preview the email itself. It actually builds an introduction for you as well. And then clicking on send drafted email does not send it immediately. It pulls it into uh, this page. It pulls the subject into the subject line, and then the body of the email is here as well. Again, since I sent very limited information to it, it doesn't have the username, so it just gives a placeholder for that and placeholders for some additional information. Again, with these generated emails and with all AI generated content, I always highly recommend reviewing it first before you send anything off. Sometimes you might just want to modify the tone of it to better match what customers have come to expect from you, or even just make sure any mistakes that may be there, because this is still generating through an LLM and it can make mistakes as much as we try to prevent that. It's just good to review it first and make sure it matches what you want. And with that, you could then send it off. So that's the general sales flow. I'll be covering two more primary flows in the system, as well as covering agents a little bit more as well. So let's jump into our next flow. This will look very similar, but it works differently on a fundamental level. So this is going to be a support flow within the system in relation to the cases module. So let's open up a case here. So this one came in. We got an email from myself that says they placed an order almost 1 week ago and have still not received their shipping information. Could you please share the shipping information for my order? Um, we do not have the shipping information yet, but of course you want to be prompt in a response. At least tell them that you've received the email and you're looking into it, and we'll get back to them very soon with that information. Um, but when it comes to this case, again, in Calculus AI, these are not prompts you have to create. These will be available by default. Um, the big one here is going to be initially the case summary will be really beneficial. Obviously, right now there's only one email, but if you have long email chain and multiple internal comments or even linked records associated with it that have additional information for that case, this summary will analyze all of that information and pull in what it believes to be most important in relation to it. So you'll be able to get a quick summary. You can see who's involved directly and any activities that have happened in relation to the case. And then you'll have the option to once again draft an email. This is very different from the one I created quickly as a prompt just to create an introductory sales email. What this does is that this draft email looks through the entire conversation. It'll look through the full conversation chain that's happened. It'll look through comments as well. It'll even look at linked records or previous cases that have happened to see if any relate to what they are reaching out about. That way, context is fully analyzed and understood, and the email that's generated matches that. The other great thing about this one is this actually pulls the email into the existing case thread. So it'll pull it into the thread itself. This allows you to follow up directly through the case. No emails are sent outside of it. And the sending option allows you to update the case from here as well. So that's the rough support flow. And then what I'm going to do now is jump into agents and show you some basic agents. So I'll be showing their functionality first. I'll show how the agents are created and how they are laid out. And then I'll be going into a bit more on chat flow and how the live chat can utilize that flow as well as agents on top of it. So let's jump into agents, and I'll be doing so by going into Ask Calculus here. And I'll be showing two prompts here. So what these prompts are is you ask a question to Calculus AI. What it does is it routes it to the appropriate agent, and within that agent are topics. It finds the topic that's relevant, and within that topic, it performs an action. I know it sounds complex, but it's a lot simpler than it seems. Because the main thing here is the outcome is very simplistic. So for example, say I want to create a contact for Joe Smith with the email. I send that what it does, it's routing it to we have a contact management agent. It's routing it through that, noticing that I mentioned contact. It's then pulling up the information I shared that's available, as well as additional fields it expects that it doesn't have information for. This is not a mandatory field, but I'll just throw in a number here as well. So clicking submit will create that contact from this page and actually have a link to that contact as well from the created record link here. One other thing to keep in mind with these is you're getting a response you didn't expect from this, you can actually open up this activity button here. It will show the initial prompt it received, what agent it routed to, and actually the topic within that agent it then used to finalize the action it performed. So it's a very useful way to do some additional troubleshooting if something's not quite as expected with an agent you create. So the next one I'm going to show is not going to be a default prompt here, but actually I'm going to ask it to generate a report based off of existing information in the system. So what I want is a report on, let's say, instead of a report, let's say we'll have a bar chart showing all open deals. Apologies if I could spell correctly. So this, if you notice, I'm not giving a lot of clarifying information. So all I'm saying is I want a bar chart and I want open deals, but I'm not saying how I want that information displayed. So this is actually is fairly autonomous in what it's deciding here. It knows I want open deals, but it's deciding the best way to display that. I didn't say vertical or horizontal bar chart. It chose horizontal, and it chose to break it up by sales stage. That's from previous learning. And if I wanted something more specific, it'd be very easy to do so. So if instead I was like, oh, no, I wanted those by assigned to, I could then say like generate a bar chart showing all open deals by assigned to. Because I want to see which users have deals assigned to them and what the load is for each user in the system currently. And then we'll get this one, which actually shows it by assigned to. The great thing about these reports as well, if I was like, oh, okay, I know Rajesh here has a lot of deals assigned and I want to review those deals, clicking on their bar in the chart will pull up those deals specifically assigned to that user. Same with the other one. If I went up to this one, I just want to see the new deals. If I click that, it would just show the new deals in the deals module. The other great thing we've implemented here when it comes to reports generated by an AI agent is that we have a feature called storyboard. What this does is it analyzes the information within the report and will give you 5 primary insights and 5 actions you could take based off of the information within that report. So this is a great way to get a breakdown on what's being shown and what you could perform based off that information. So with that, let's actually go and see how these agents are created in the system. And again, just so you know, because I'm hoping to create a foundation of understanding and use for this feature. So what I'm showing here are fairly simple ways to utilize these features. Hopefully you can build upon these and make even more things because you can kind of create what you need to fit your business and business use case. These are more general uses of these agents, but of course you can add more specific briefs, more specific instructions, more specific actions to fit exactly what you need for your company. So let's go into the first agent here. If you remember, I showed how that contact was created. It routed to the contacts agent. But with an agent, when you're first creating it, what you need to have is an agent name and then a brief about the agent's role. Depending on the complexity of the agent you're trying to create, the brief's going to be very important. You want to be as specific as possible, say what their role is primarily. Doing so will then allow you to generate topics automatically, and you can modify those manually following that. So if we open up the agent, we'll see we have 2 topics here, one to create contacts and one to build a display information on follow-up prioritization for the contacts module. The create context one is obviously the one that it routed to when we requested to create a contact. And here in the topic, it's broken up into 4 sections. You have the name and the description. These are more for internal use. Another big one to really focus on is the instructions themselves. This is what is sent to the LLM. So it's important to be as detailed as possible, but even more so on the action itself, and I'll show that in a little bit. And then you have the keywords. Again, you want to be as thorough as possible in adding the keywords you think will be most important here. This does help with the routing process when the prompt is first sent. So having like module details or new or create, that'll help route it to this specific topic within that agent. And then within a topic, you do have an action. So actions help actually perform the final whatever, like create content or create a record or perform another action as needed when you're requested. So this one again is just set up to create contacts. We have a fairly simple description. I'm just saying it to create a contact. Again, as the complexity goes up, the more descriptive you want to be in typing out what this should perform. And then we set the action type. So there are three action types for an agent. There's APIs, there's prompts, and there's reports. APIs are what this one utilizes. The other two, I'll be going into reports a bit, but prompt again is one that lets you have when you receive input from the user, you can have the output be a prompt you created. And that's why I wanted to cover prompts, because prompts can be utilized by agents to then display specific information you have that allows you to pull and merge fields and specific record or list information as needed. But here we did use API. And then following that, you select a specific API. These will all be available. I don't want to spend the time covering all of these, but I'll just cover a few basic ones because some are also pretty self-explanatory, like creating a record. But you have these two, get ID and get record ID by name. So get ID allows you to get the backend ID or the ID that's used on the back end for a specific record. If you are using just getting the name of a record, so if someone was like, "Oh, I need information on again like Joe Smith for the contact," it'll be able to pull in that backend ID that can then be used to summarize that record on a second action if needed. Then you have one that allows you to schedule an appointment, which would create an event. One for troubleshooting. So if something goes wrong, this allows you to reference internal FAQs or any other information you have the AI trained on. So that can be very useful. One to allow you to reference list modules or list modules or get blocks by module. So these are all going to be related to admin. So you can actually perform admin tasks through agents as well. So you can set up an agent that allow you to create a field for a module or create a block for a module. Or the final one is if you just want to create an agent, allows you to also update a record on top of creating one. We have a specific API for updating a record as well. But again, this one is used to create a contact. The next step is selecting a module. Of course, that's got the contacts module. And then you have two options here. So the first one is gather data from user as form. So if you remember when I created that contact, it listed out three fields. That's because I had it set up to actually gather the data as a form. So it pulled in what was actually shared as input by myself, the user, which was the name and the primary email. But there are three fields set here as input expected, and the third one being the office phone, which is why that was displayed empty when I was creating that contact. I could, of course, remove that. None of these are set as mandatory. I could remove that if I didn't think that was necessary. I can add additional inputs as well by just clicking add input. Usually when you're creating a record, what you want to do is have it be field specific. To do so, you can just toggle this button here, which allows you to select from existing fields in that module. So if I wanted to add in the company name as well, I could add that in here. And then finally, you have the output. So with an agent, there's input that's expected that you define first, and then you have the output from what is generated from that agent. Here, the output, we just had the name being shown. You could add additional output. It could be field specific. It could be something else that's not field specific. You could decide what you want to be fully outputted once the action is completed. So that's the basic create agent for creating a record. The other one that was utilized is this reports agent here. So when I asked it to create a report on a deal, it got routed to this agent. and specifically to this topic within this agent. So what this did, again, same process for the creation. It has the description, it has the specific instructions and the keywords, and then it only has a single action, and that's to generate the report. And if you'll notice, the description here has a bit more information as it's needed, as it can be important to make sure you account for any information that wasn't received directly as input. You might have something you want to still assume as default for a specific information. You might have specific phrases the team uses that it needs context for. Things like that should be added in here into the description. And then the action type is reports. And that's actually the last step to creating an action that builds reports. So the description is the most important part for an action that's built for creating reports. And before I jump fully into the next flow and even chat flows themselves, this is actually another spot that you would create an agent for is if you have live chat configured and you wanted to create an AI agent specific to live chat to handle customer support or even on the sales side, sales inquiries, you could create the agent here to do so. And this is one that we have created for the live chat specifically. And if you'll notice, the brief here is much, much more specific. This is very important when you are creating an agent to be used for live chat because that is going to be customer facing. Not that an internal agent isn't also important to have the right tone and context, but this one is even more so because you not only want it to display all of the correct information, but you want to make sure it remains professional. You might even want to make sure it doesn't say specific phrases at all. And all of that you want to put in the brief and also even in the instructions later. And then one other thing to keep in mind is, again, if you're creating one specifically for live chat, this is the button you want to keep in mind. So enabling this will make sure the agent can only be invoked in live chats. And if we take a look at this, this is obviously a little bit more complex. This has the option to create a case record, get quote status information, do basic troubleshooting, and retrieve case information. Um, and then some of these have multiple actions. One other big thing here is this is one where the RAG models you have configured is very important because if you have it trained on articles and FAQs, it can then reference those when troubleshooting issues that are reached out about. Or if you have it trained on sales information or sales documentation, it can then use those and even share those when needed with someone reaching out to live chat. And following that, I actually now want to show a bit of a live chat in action. So hang on one second here. Let me get that pulled up. So this is actually one I'm going to be showing the live chat and the agent we have it set up for our current chat on our website, vtiger.com. So if I go in here and let me back out of that. So I'm in an incognito tab, and in doing so, when I initially signed up, I shared my name, email address, and phone number. So it already has me referenced here. That was just to save time in this process, so I can show this quicker. What I'm doing is I'm coming in here as someone interested in the product. So I reached out about the product. I heard back from the sales team, and I'm expecting to receive a quote, but I haven't got it yet. So, and it could be that the quote is created and the approval process took a bit longer than expected. So it is ready to send, it just hasn't been sent off yet. So I just want to reach out and ask about it. So I'll say, so it'll take me through the chat flow one more time. Wait for that OTP code to come in. So using slightly different wording here. What it should be checking for is the word quote, and then it should route through the quote, eventually leading me to the agent itself. There we go. So here we can see it's saying, okay, so there's a proposal created. It's in the ready stage. It pertains to the One Enterprise Edition. And then it says how much it will be. I will select the option to receive the quote by email. I'm actually going to send that an email with that quote attached within just a few seconds. So email sent successfully. Let me jump back into my email. And here you can see the email itself, and we did receive the quote. I apologize why I'm not sure why everything is highlighted. But yeah, so that's a very simple, even still fairly simplistic way to utilize this feature that can save your sales and even support team a lot of time on reaching out through support for basic queries. So let me jump back into the system, and I do kind of want to show a chat flow itself, because this is what it was routing through. So if I go here into this chat flow, here you have a basic way to do a drag and drop flow for the chat itself. So here you'll see this basic messaging it will follow through. It then checks for sensitive information. And then if that is sensitive information based off the guidelines set, it will then ask for OTP verification. If that is successful, it then actually routes to the AI agent. And then there's a separate branch for if that failed. And you can then build this even further to handle basic support outside of that. Um, so if you want to see the agent in action, you can go to vtiger.com and test it out, ask it basic support questions. All that's being routed through our chat flow and even our agents beyond that to help answer those questions. So I hope that gives you a good baseline for what's available. There is a lot more, and we're continuing to release a lot more within this. We have a lot planned for even just this current year for new features upcoming. So with that, I'm going to pass this back off to Josh to finish up the presentation, and then we'll have that Q&A afterwards.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. Yeah, nice work, Matthew. As you can see, there's a lot of exciting capabilities and possibilities regarding AI and AI agents in Vtiger. As Matthew mentioned, we are continuously working to enhance and refine these capabilities. Sometimes in these live settings, things can happen, but ultimately, it was successful. So definitely keep an eye out for future enhancement and releases coming soon. I only have a couple of slides left before we start the Q&A session. So we'll start with, here at Vtiger, we're extremely dedicated to creating the best all-in-one CRM with the latest AI technologies integrated in our system and at your disposal. We primarily focus on bringing in new features through industry best practices and customer requests. So if you have any features or AI enhancements you'd like available in the CRM, please reach out to support@vtiger.com or use the feedback option within the CRM. You can also keep up to date on all of our new features through our release notes, which brings us now to a special offer that we have before we start the Q&A. So we're pleased to offer everyone who registered for this webinar 3 free months of Calculus AI. For existing customers, you just need to install the Calculus AI add-on and send an email to mktg@vtiger.com. I'll post that email address in the chat in just a little bit. Our team will then activate your Calculus AI add-on offer. For non-customers or new customers wanting to sign up, all you have to do is sign up for the free 15-day trial and then activate your account by subscribing to either the One Growth, One Professional, One Enterprise, or One AI edition. Make sure that the Calculus AI add-on is installed, and then again, send an email to mktg@vtiger.com. Our team will then activate your Calculus AI add-on offer. We really encourage you all to take advantage of this so you can explore Calculus AI suite and all of its capabilities, including the AI agents for yourself. So we're now going to open this up. Let's see, we went a little over time, so we're probably closer to 10 minutes or so for this Q&A session. We most likely won't be able to answer specific questions related to your specific business flows, but instead general queries about our AI and AI and agent capabilities. Also, again, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to ask your questions. We can't guarantee, again, we're running a little short on time, that we'll have time to answer all the questions that come in, but we will do our best to address everyone's questions, either by responding live or typing out a reply. So please, if you have any questions, please go ahead and start typing away.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for questions to come in, there's a few more points I wanted to bring up. When it comes to new features, there's one we actually just released yesterday, which is an integration with Google Sheets. So if you're interested, you can actually there's an integration with Calculus AI and Google Sheets where if you have one row of data, you can then set up the integration to then generate information in the other row. So if you have products and want to generate a product description, for example, utilizing that integration, you can do so. We have an article already created on how to configure that, help.vtiger.com, and just look up. You'll be able to find that AI integration information. Yeah, one other thing to note too is if you start using this and have a specific business flow in mind that you're running into troubles or think it will be very complex to set up those agents, we do offer a service where if you reach out to our team, we'll of course get the requirements of what you're fully looking to accomplish for those agents, but our team can build those for you for a cost. That will be decided once we analyze the full scope of what you're wanting to accomplish. But we do offer that as a service as well.
A question came in that's asking, can I make a follows sales step agent? I'm assuming you're wanting an agent to kind of follow a sales cadence or sales sequence. So agents can be used in Process Designer. So you could create a multi-step sales cadence, sales sequence, and utilize those agents in those flows in Process Designer.
Yeah. We had another one come in. You might receive a written reply to this as well. But someone asked, where can the AI agent be implemented? Can it be embedded on our company's website? So the way to redirect customers to go to a certain website to only be able to chat. So this is sort of a two-parter. So the AI agents can be implemented internally within the system in various aspects as I showed there. But when it comes to customer facing, right now it's only available through live chat. That would be the live chat itself can be added onto any web page you wish that you have access to. Uh, so as long as you edit that WebSense onto your website, that live chat will be there, and if you configure that flow and those agents, that will be the first step when they first reach out through that live chat. I hope that answered that. If not, please let me know. And actually, one more. Marco asked, will there be an updated design of the CRM? So we have limited information on this right now, but we are working on a new CRM design called Next Gen. We don't have a release date for it, but there is a new design upcoming. So we are working on one. I apologize for not having more information on that at the moment. That's just not something we have prepared to show or explain in more detail at the moment.
And then Kevin, I just posted the email address for our marketing team to take advantage of the free offer here for Calculus. So again, you'll just need to install the add-on first, and then afterwards send that email and they'll start to kick in that 3 free months.
So we had another ask, how can we integrate with invoicing softwares? I guess to what extent are you looking to integrate? Because right now the most of the integration would be you can integrate with those softwares initially through the existing integrations of the system. So we have integrations with like QuickBooks or Xero. So you could bring in the information there, and then the agents can work within the CRM to handle the data as needed beyond that. That's the most at the moment. If there's something more specific you have in mind, if you reach out to our team, we might be able to work on something that would likely have a cost associated with it. But nothing's fully off the table until we really give it a full look through and our development team gets involved as well. We had another one person asked, can an agent be employed to upload products from an Excel sheet? Right now, no. So at that point, you can have those products uploaded in various ways. The import process is fairly simple in the system, but an agent couldn't do that autonomously for you. We had another that asked, can I import contacts and records and record the contacts directly from email using the AI agents? So and correct me if I'm wrong. From what I understand, you're asking if you can import the contacts and then reach out to the contacts directly from email using the agents, so you wouldn't actually have to step in at all during the initial outreach process. Um, that one you could, if you set up a sales flow using Process Designer, you could automate a lot of your initial sales outreach process, and you can integrate the agents through that process flow you create. Without more information, that's the most I could share at this moment without more information. So if there's something specific you have in mind too with that, definitely reach out to our support team at support@vtiger.com and we could help you further with finalizing what that might look like. We had a follow-up on the previous question that was asked, and they said specifically with the invoice integration, how to utilize AI with like even a tally integration, for example. Again, we would need to know a little more information on what specifically you have in mind with what you would want AI to perform in that integration. So the big part is like the integration itself would pull the information into the system. Um, Everything beyond that would just be setting up either AI agents or other automation flows to then make use of that information beyond that point. Um, yeah, if you have, again, this is another one. If there's something more specific you have in mind in relative to your business process or business flow, please detail it out to our team and we could review it a bit further. And looks like we have one more question. Will this simplify campaigns for example, you prepare an ADM campaign just like X was? Um, so you could create agents to help generate the content you're sending out, or even come up with ideas for a campaign itself. At the moment, that's about where the extent of the features would be. If you had something more specific, again, we're still working to improve this as quickly as possible. So if there's something more specific you had in mind for what should be possible, please reach out to our team with it, because we are still trying to make this the best feature as possible.
We have a question asking if we can create AI agents to create customized daily or weekly insights regularly of deals that's end date is coming up in a weekly/monthly basis. I think the best way to do that would be to utilize like a reporting agent in a process flow where it's checking for those conditions that a deal's due date is coming up. So I think that would be the best way to initiate that.
Yeah, to add on to that, there is an option to set up an AI alert in Ask Calculus. So if it was uh, an insight that was configured for an agent to look up initially, you just type out the answer you want to the question you want an answer for and set up when you want that alert to be received, and you could view it there. So that is an option. If you want additional functionality with that, again, definitely reach out and let us know what specifically you're looking for beyond that. And we had one more that asked, will Keikos AI be available in custom apps built in VTab? Um, this is one I'm actually not certain off the top of my head. I believe so, especially with our the additional functionality we're building for the system. This is definitely coming. I just am not sure if this is available at the moment. I apologize. We can, I
It looks
believe,
like Abhishek is typing an answer. I don't know if he has a
yeah,
developer near him, but
yeah, Abhishek might have a more detailed answer for you.
if you don't, I recommend sending that question into support@vtiger.com that way we can get a developer to answer that question for you.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna give another minute or so for any last questions, and then we'll wrap things up here. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in. If something, if you, oh, let's see here. I have one more question, but it's thanking us. Well, thank you all for joining, which we will bring us to our last slide here. So yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Matthew and I both appreciate all of you for taking time out of your schedules to join us for this webinar. If you have any additional questions that arise later, if you have concerns or feedback, please reach out to us through our traditional support channels. You can reach out to us via our website and the contact us button on the page. You can use the live chat feature on our website or in the CRM. Send us an email to support@vtiger.com or reach us by phone using our India or US and global numbers. We really hope you found this webinar informative, and we hope you're excited as we are about the future of AI and AI agents within Vtiger CRM. So thanks again, and see you next time. Take care.